The arrival. The skies darkened over New York City as massive ships emerged from the clouds, their metallic hulls reflecting the fading sunlight. Similar scenes unfolded across the globe. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing, all witnessed the arrival of the Zirconian fleet. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization had begun, but not in the way anyone had imagined. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, lead scientist at the Global Space Agency, watched the events unfold on multiple screens in the agency's command center. Her heart raced as she realized years of searching for extraterrestrial life had culminated in this moment. But the excitement quickly gave way to dread as the true nature of the visit became apparent. This is Admiral Khan of the Zirconian Empire. A deep, otherworldly voice boomed through every communication device on the planet. Your world is now under our protection and rule. Resistance is futile. Surrender peacefully, and you may continue your existence under our benevolent guidance. World leaders scrambled to respond, hastily organizing an emergency United Nations session. Dr. Rodriguez found herself thrust into the spotlight, advising the UN Security Council on potential first contact protocols. But as she spoke to the assembled diplomats, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were woefully unprepared for this moment. We need to approach this with caution, she urged. We don't know their true intentions or capabilities. Any aggressive action could lead to catastrophic consequences. But even as she spoke, reports flooded in of military mobilizations across the globe. The United States, China, and Russia had already scrambled fighter jets to engage the alien ships. It was a knee-jerk reaction born of fear and a desperate attempt to assert human dominance. The results were devastating. The Zirconian ships effortlessly swatted aside Earth's most advanced aircraft like annoying insects. Energy beams lanced out from the alien vessels, reducing military bases to smoldering craters in a matter of seconds. As the world watched in horror, Admiral Khan's voice once again filled the airwaves. Your pathetic display of force amuses us. Consider this your final warning. Lay down your arms and submit to Zirconian rule or face annihilation. In the days that followed, chaos reigned. Governments crumbled as they failed to protect their citizens. Riots broke out in major cities as people fought over dwindling resources and sought shelter from potential alien attacks. The Zirconians maintained their position, their ships hovering ominously over Earth's largest population centers, a constant reminder of their overwhelming power. Dr. Rodriguez found herself working around the clock, analyzing every scrap of data they could gather on the alien technology. She coordinated with scientists around the world, sharing information through secure channels as they desperately sought a weakness in the Zirconian defenses. There has to be something, she muttered, poring over energy readings from the alien ships. No technology is perfect. We just need to find the flaw. As she worked, a young assistant burst into her lab, face pale with excitement. Dr. Rodriguez, you need to see this. He thrust a tablet into her hands, showing footage from a small town in the American Midwest. A group of civilians, armed with little more than determination and improvised weapons, had managed to bring down a Zirconian scout ship. The video was grainy, but Elena could make out a group of people cheering around the smoking wreckage of the alien craft. How? She whispered, studying the footage intently. The answer came from an unlikely source. Buried in the code of a computer virus that had been spreading through human networks was a message. They're not invincible. Their shields have a fluctuation cycle. Time it right, and even the simplest weapons can penetrate. The revelation spread like wildfire through underground resistance networks. Small victories began to pile up as humans around the world exploited this weakness. The Zirconians, caught off guard by the sudden effectiveness of human attacks, began to show signs of frustration. Admiral Khan appeared once more on global broadcasts, his tone noticeably less confident. Humans, your continued defiance is impressive but futile. We have only shown you a fraction of our true power. Submit now, or we will be forced to take more drastic measures. But humanity had tasted hope. and there was no going back. In hidden bunkers and makeshift labs, scientists like Elena worked tirelessly to reverse engineer the alien technology from the downed scout ships. Military strategists devised new tactics to exploit the shield weakness on a larger scale. But humanity had tasted hope, and there was no going back. In hidden bunkers and makeshift labs, scientists like Elena worked tirelessly to reverse engineer the alien technology from the downed scout ships. Military strategists devised new tactics to exploit the shield weakness on a larger scale. As the first part of this cosmic conflict drew to a close, humanity stood at a crossroads. The road ahead would be fraught with danger and sacrifice, but for the first time since the Zarkonians arrived, there was a glimmer of hope. The human spirit, tested but unbroken, prepared for the fight of its life. Elena looked out the window of her lab at the Zarkonian ship looming over the city. She clenched her fist, a determined smile playing on her lips. "You should have listened to our warning," she said softly. "You have no idea what humanity is capable of when pushed to the brink." The battle for Earth had only just begun. The resistance rises. In the weeks following the initial Zarkonian invasion, Earth transformed into a battleground of hope and despair. The aliens' grip on major cities tightened, but in the shadows, a global resistance movement began to take shape. Humanity, faced with extinction, found strength in its diversity and adaptability. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had become an unexpected symbol of human resilience. Her work on understanding Zarkonian technology had spread through underground networks, inspiring pockets of resistance worldwide. But as she sat in a dimly lit basement lab, surrounded by salvaged alien tech, she knew they needed more than just inspiration to win this war. "We're making progress," she told the assembled group of scientists and military personnel. "But it's not enough. The Zarkonians are adapting to our tactics faster than we can develop new ones." Colonel Sarah Chen, a battle-hardened veteran who had seen too many comrades fall to alien weapons, leaned forward. "Then we need to change the game. Hit them where they least expect it." As they debated strategy, reports flooded in from around the globe. In the mountains of Peru, indigenous tribes had used their knowledge of the terrain to ambush Zarkonian patrols. In the sprawling metropolis of Tokyo, hackers had momentarily disrupted alien communications, causing chaos in their ranks. Each small victory added fuel to the growing flames of resistance. But the Zarkonians were far from defeated. Admiral Tarkhan, enraged by the continued human defiance, unleashed a new wave of terror. Massive harvester ships descended on Earth's oceans, beginning to drain them of water and marine life. The message was clear: submit, or watch your planet die. Elena watched in horror as coastlines receded and entire ecosystems collapsed. Time was running out. In a desperate bid to unite the fragmented resistance movements, she proposed a daring plan. "We need to show the world that the Zarkonians can be beaten," she declared. "Not just in small skirmishes, but in a major battle. We need a victory that will ignite the hearts of every human on Earth." The target: a Zarkonian command ship hovering over the ruins of Paris. The plan: a coordinated global assault that would combine all the tactics and technologies the Resistance had developed. It was a long shot, but it was all they had. As preparations for Operation Lighthouse began, Elena found herself working closely with an unlikely ally. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a former rival in the scientific community, had developed a method to interfere with Zarkonian energy weapons. "I never thought I'd be working with you to save the world," Yuki said with a wry smile as they calibrated their equipment. Elena laughed, a sound that felt foreign after weeks of tension. "I guess alien invasions have a way of putting old rivalries into perspective." Their collaboration proved fruitful. By combining Elena's shield disruption techniques with Yuki's energy interference, they created a device that could temporarily neutralize Zarkonian defenses, but it would only work at close range. Someone would need to get near the command ship to activate it. As word of the impending operation spread through resistance channels, volunteers poured in from every corner of the globe. Farmers from the American Midwest worked alongside Maasai warriors from Kenya. Computer programmers from India joined forces with Aboriginal trackers from Australia. Humanity's diversity, once a source of conflict, had become its greatest strength. The day of the attack dawned cloudy and tense. Alina stood at the command center, surrounded by a cacophony of languages as final preparations were made. She caught Colonel Chen's eye across the room, and they shared a nod of grim determination. There would be no second chances. As the signal was given, resistance fighters worldwide sprang into action. Diversion attacks were launched against Zarkonian positions across the globe, stretching their forces thin. In the skies over Paris, a ragtag fleet of human aircraft, enhanced with salvaged alien tech, engaged the enemy. The battle was fierce and chaotic. Human pilots, outgunned but not outmatched, weaved through energy blasts and missile barrages. On the ground, guerrilla fighters struck at Zarkonian ground forces, using the city's ruins as cover. Alina watched the feeds with bated breath, waiting for the critical moment. When it came, it was almost anticlimactic. A small, unmarked aircraft, piloted by a young resistance fighter named Zora, slipped through the Zarkonian defenses. The neutralizer activated, and for a brief moment, the massive command ship hung vulnerable in the sky. The resistance struck with everything they had. Missiles that would have once bounced harmlessly off alien shields found their mark. The command ship, once a symbol of Zarkonian invincibility, began to list and fall. As the massive vessel crashed into the Seine, a roar of triumph echoed across human communications channels. Alina felt tears streaming down her face as she watched the impossible become reality. They had done it. They had struck a real blow against the invaders. But even as celebration erupted around her, Alina knew this was only the beginning. The Zarkonians would retaliate, and humanity needed to be ready. She turned to Colonel Chen, her eyes blazing with determination. "Get me a secure line to every resistance cell on the planet," she said. "It's time to take this fight to the next level." As news of the Paris victory spread, something changed in the hearts of humans everywhere. Fear gave way to hope, despair to determination. In the streets of occupied cities, people began to emerge from hiding, standing tall in defiance of their alien oppressors. Admiral Exarchon, watching from his flagship in orbit, felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries of conquest: doubt. These humans, these primitives he had dismissed as easy prey, were proving to be far more formidable than he had ever imagined. As the sun set on a day that would be remembered in human history for generations to come, both sides prepared for the next phase of the war. Humanity had sent a clear message to the stars: Earth would not fall without a fight. The resistance had risen, and it was just getting started. Project Phoenix. The victory in Paris had changed the course of the war, but the Zarkonians were far from defeated. As Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood in the hidden underground facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, she knew that humanity's window of opportunity was rapidly closing. "Project Phoenix," she muttered, running her hand along the sleek, otherworldly surface of the device before her. It was humanity's ace in the hole, a weapon born from the marriage of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered Zarkonian technology. The facility buzzed with activity as scientists and engineers from around the world worked tirelessly to bring Project Phoenix to life. It had been a monumental effort, combining the brightest minds and resources from every corner of the globe. Colonel Sarah Chen approached, her face etched with concern. "The Zarkonians are stepping up their attacks. They've begun targeting our food production centers. We're looking at global famine within months if we don't act soon." Elena nodded grimly. "Then we don't have a choice. We need to accelerate the timeline." Project Phoenix was more than just a weapon. It was a complete paradigm shift in warfare against the Zarkonians. At its core was a revolutionary AI system, designed to predict and counter alien tactics in real time. But its true power lay in its ability to interface directly with human minds, creating a neural network that could coordinate global resistance efforts with unprecedented efficiency. As Elena and her team worked to fine-tune the system, Reports of Zarkonian atrocities continued to pour in. Entire cities were being leveled as the aliens sought to crush the growing human resistance. But with each act of brutality, more people flocked to join the fight. In a sealed chamber at the heart of the facility, volunteers underwent the risky process of interfacing with Project Phoenix. Elena watched through an observation window as a young woman named Maya, a former schoolteacher from Brazil, was connected to the system. Maya's body arched as the neural link activated, her eyes fluttering rapidly behind closed lids. On the monitors, Elena could see the flood of data streaming through Maya's mind. Tactical information, enemy positions, resource allocations. It's working. Dr. Yuki Tanaka breathed, eyes wide with amazement. The human brain's capacity for adaptation is truly remarkable. But even as Project Phoenix showed promise, Elena couldn't shake a gnawing doubt. The ethical implications of what they were doing weighed heavily on her. Were they sacrificing their humanity in the name of survival? Her musings were interrupted by an urgent alert. A Zarkonian strike force had been detected, heading straight for their hidden facility. Somehow, the aliens had discovered their location. "We're out of time," Colonel Chen declared, already mobilizing the facility's defenses. "We need to activate Project Phoenix now, ready or not." Elena hesitated for a split second, then nodded. "Do it." Alarms blared as the facility went into lockdown. Elena raced to the central control room, where Maya and the other interfaced volunteers were already coordinating a response through Project Phoenix. Multiple Zarkonian ships approaching from the north. Maya reported, her voice eerily calm as she processed vast amounts of data. "I'm redirecting our stealth squadrons to flank them." Elena watched in awe as holographic displays showed the battle unfolding in real time. Human forces, guided by the predictive power of Project Phoenix, moved with uncanny precision. For the first time since the invasion began, it felt like they were a step ahead of the Zarkonians. But the aliens weren't going down without a fight. As the battle raged above the mountain facility, Admiral Xarkon himself led a group of elite warriors in a direct assault on the underground complex. "They're breaching the outer defenses," Chen shouted, coordinating the internal security teams. Elena knew they couldn't let Project Phoenix fall into Zarkonian hands. "Initiate Protocol Omega," she ordered, her voice heavy with the weight of the decision. Protocol Omega was the last resort, a complete data purge and self-destruct sequence for the facility. It would erase all traces of Project Phoenix, but at a terrible cost. As the countdown began, Elena turned to the volunteers still connected to the system. "We need to disconnect you now," she urged. But Maya shook her head, a look of fierce determination in her eyes. "No, we can still turn this around. Trust us." Against her better judgment, Elena hesitated, watching as Maya and the others pushed Project Phoenix to its limits. Through their combined consciousness, they reached out to resistance cells worldwide, coordinating a massive, synchronized counterattack. In orbit, Zarkonian ships found themselves ambushed by human vessels that seemed to anticipate their every move. On the ground, resistance fighters struck with surgical precision, taking out key alien command nodes. Admiral Xarkon, fighting his way through the facility's defenses, felt the tide of battle turning against him. For the first time in his long life, he faced the real possibility of defeat. As the self-destruct countdown reached its final seconds, Elena made a fateful decision. She aborted Protocol Omega, choosing to trust in humanity's collective will to survive. It was a gamble that paid off. The Zarkonian assault faltered, then broke. Admiral Xarkon, his elite guard decimated, was forced to retreat. Above ground, the alien fleet scattered, pursued by emboldened human forces. In the aftermath of the battle, Elena stood amidst the debris of the damaged facility, surveying the cost of their victory. The volunteers, their minds expanded by their connection to Project Phoenix, looked at the world with new eyes. "What happens now?" Colonel Chen asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. Elena looked at Maya and the others, seeing both the hope and the burden they now carried. "Now," she said softly, "we take the fight to them." Project Phoenix had given humanity a fighting chance, but it had also irrevocably changed them. As news of the victory spread, people around the world felt a surge of connection, a shared purpose that transcended borders and cultures. The Zarkonians, reeling from their defeat, withdrew to regroup. But Elena knew this was far from over. The next phase of the war would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the very nature of what it meant to be human. As she looked at the stars through a cracked ceiling panel, Elena steeled herself for the challenges ahead. Humanity had risen from the ashes, reborn through fire and adversity. The Phoenix had taken flight, and the universe would never be the same. The counterattack. The world held its breath as humanity prepared for its boldest move yet. In the months following the activation of Project Phoenix, a new sense of unity had swept across the globe. Borders that once divided nations now meant little in the face of a common enemy. The human race, connected like never before through the neural network of Project Phoenix, stood poised to launch a counteroffensive against the Zarkonian invaders. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the HSS Defiant, Earth's first starship built with reverse-engineered Zarkonian technology. Around her, a crew of international specialists worked in perfect harmony, their minds partially linked through Project Phoenix's neural interface. "All systems are go," reported Maya. Her eyes glazed over as she processed vast amounts of data streaming through her enhanced consciousness. "The global fleet is in position and awaiting your command, Dr. Rodriguez." Elena took a deep breath, feeling the weight of humanity's hopes on her shoulders. This was the moment they had been working towards, a chance to take the fight beyond Earth's atmosphere and strike at the heart of the Zarkonian fleet. "Initiate Operation Starburst," Elena ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Across the planet, hidden launch sites burst into activity. Sleek fighters and battleships, products of humanity's newfound technological leap, rose into the sky. The sight of the human armada ascending to challenge the alien invaders sent a surge of hope through the watching populations below. In orbit, Admiral Xarkon observed the approaching human fleet with a mixture of disbelief and grudging respect. "These creatures continue to surprise us," he growled to his subordinates. "Prepare for battle. Show them the true might of the Zarkonian Empire." The clash between human and Zarkonian forces was unlike anything the cosmos had witnessed before. Human ships, guided by the predictive algorithms of Project Phoenix, danced through the void with impossible grace. They anticipated Zarkonian maneuvers seconds before they happened, striking with precision that belied their technological inferiority. Elena watched the battle unfold on the Defiant's holographic display, coordinating the global effort through her neural link. Squadrons 3 and 7 flanked the enemy cruiser at Sector 9. "Tiger Group, prepare to breach their flagship's shields on my mark." The human attack was relentless, driven by the collective will of billions, channeled through Project Phoenix. For every ship they lost, the humans seemed to fight with redoubled fury. The Zarkonians, accustomed to easy victories against less advanced civilizations, found themselves pushed to their limits. But the aliens were far from defeated. Admiral Xarkon, sensing the tide of battle turning against him, unveiled a weapon that the Zarkonians had held in reserve, a massive energy cannon capable of destroying entire continents. "You leave us no choice, humans." Xarkon's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Surrender now, or watch your world burn." The giant cannon began to charge, its ominous glow visible even from the surface of the Earth. Panic rippled through the human forces as they realized the magnitude of the threat. "We need to take out that cannon." Colonel Chen's voice crackled through the comm, her fighter squadron already moving to intercept. Elena's mind raced, processing scenarios through her link with Project Phoenix. There was only one option, but it was risky beyond measure. "All ships, focus fire on the Zarkonian fleet," she commanded. "Defiant will handle the cannon." "Elena, that's suicide." Yuki's voice cut through the neural chatter, thick with concern. "It's the only way," Elena replied, her resolve firm. "Maya, plot us a course straight for that cannon. We're going to overload their systems with a concentrated burst from our Phoenix core." The Defiant broke away from the main battle, accelerating towards the looming threat of the Zarkonian superweapon. Enemy ships moved to intercept, but the human fleet ran interference, clearing a path. As they approached the massive cannon, Elena felt a strange calm settle over her. Through Project Phoenix, she could sense the determination and hope of every human being on Earth. Their collective will flowed through her, strengthening her resolve. "Impact in 10 seconds, Maya announced, her voice steady despite the looming collision. Elena closed her eyes, focusing all her energy into the Phoenix core. "For Earth," she whispered. The Defiant struck the Zarkonian cannon just as it was about to fire. A blinding flash lit up the sky as the Phoenix core released its energy, creating a cascading overload in the alien weapon systems. For a moment, it seemed as if time stood still. Then, with a silent roar that shook the fabric of space itself, the Zarkonian superweapon exploded. The shockwave rippled outwards, disabling scores of alien ships in its wake. On Earth, people watched in awe as a new star seemed to bloom in the sky, then fade. Cheers erupted across the globe as news of the cannon's destruction spread. In the debris field that was once the Defiant, a flickering emergency beacon activated. Against all odds, a handful of lifeboats had survived the explosion, Elena's among them. As human ships moved in to rescue the survivors, the Zarkonian fleet fell into disarray. Without their superweapon and with their command structure in chaos, the aliens began to retreat. Admiral Exarchon, watching his grand invasion crumble, made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "All ships, cease fire," he ordered, his voice heavy with the weight of defeat. "Open a channel to the human leaders. It's time we talked." As the dust of battle settled, humanity found itself in a position no one could have imagined when the invasion began. They had not only survived, but had forced one of the galaxy's most powerful empires to the negotiating table. Elena, bruised but alive, was brought aboard the new human flagship. As she looked out at the stars, she knew that this was not the end, but a new beginning. Humanity had proven itself on a cosmic stage, and the universe would never be the same. The counterattack had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams, but the greatest challenges and opportunities still lay ahead. As representatives from Earth prepared to meet with the Zarkonian leadership, one thing was clear: humanity's voice would now be heard among the stars. The reckoning. The Sol system, once a backwater in the vast expanse of the galaxy, now stood at the center of a cosmic revolution. In the wake of humanity's unexpected victory against the Zarkonian Empire, representatives from both species gathered on neutral ground, a massive space station orbiting Jupiter. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, still bearing the scars of her near sacrifice, stood at the head of the human delegation. Beside her, the imposing figure of Admiral Exarchon represented the Zarkonians. The tension in the room was palpable, centuries of Zarkonian supremacy clashing with humanity's newfound strength. "We are prepared to discuss terms," Exarchon began, his voice a low rumble. "But know this, the Empire has stood for millennia. We will not be dictated to by mere humans." Elena interrupted, her eyes flashing. "I think we've moved beyond that, Admiral. We're here as equals, or we're not here at all." The Admiral's expression tightened, but he nodded grudgingly. Thus began days of intense negotiation, as both sides sought to forge a peace that would reshape the galaxy. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity grappled with its new reality. The neural network of Project Phoenix had expanded, connecting billions of minds in a collective consciousness that transcended traditional barriers. Debates raged about the future of human identity in this new paradigm. Maya, her cognitive abilities exponentially enhanced by prolonged connection to the network, had become a voice for this new form of humanity. "We're evolving," she explained to a global audience, "not just technologically, but as a species, we have the opportunity to become something greater than we ever imagined. But not everyone embraced this change. Pockets of resistance formed, fearing the loss of individuality and the potential for abuse in such a connected system. The world teetered on the brink of a new kind of civil war. As the negotiations in space continued, Alina found herself pulled in multiple directions. She was a bridge between old and new, a scientist who understood the technology, a leader who had earned the respect of both humans and Zarkonians, and a symbol of human resilience. On the 10th day of talks, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, working with a team of human and Zarkonian scientists, made a startling discovery. The Project Phoenix network, Yuki explained, her hologram flickering in the negotiation chamber. It's not just connecting humans. It's begun to interface with Zarkonian biology. Those who've been in prolonged contact with humans are showing signs of neural synchronization. The revelation sent shockwaves through both delegations. What had begun as a weapon of war now offered the possibility of a deeper understanding between species. Admiral Karkan, initially skeptical, agreed to undergo a supervised connection to the network. As the interface activated, his eyes widened in astonishment. For the first time, he felt the full weight of human emotions, their fears, hopes, and indomitable spirit. When the connection ended, the Admiral was visibly shaken. I had no idea," he murmured. "All this time, we thought we were superior. But your diversity, your adaptability, it's unlike anything we've encountered." The dynamic of the negotiations shifted dramatically. Instead of discussing mere terms of peace, both sides began to explore the possibility of a true alliance. The Zarkonians offered to share their advanced technology and knowledge of the galaxy, while humanity promised to help them rediscover the innovation and creativity that their rigid empire had stifled. But challenges remained. On Earth, the divide between those embracing the new connected future and those fearing it continued to grow. Alina, seeing the potential for conflict, made a bold proposal. "We stand at a crossroads." She addressed both the Earth and the negotiation chamber. "We have the opportunity to reach for the stars, not just physically, but as a consciousness. But we must move forward together, humans, Zarkonians, and whoever else we may encounter out there." Her words, broadcast across the planet and to the far reaches of Zarkonian space, sparked a galactic dialogue. The idea of a united future, where diversity was celebrated and consciousness could be shared across species, caught fire. In the months that followed, a new interstellar alliance took shape. Earth became a hub of cultural and technological exchange, with Zarkonians and humans working side by side to unlock the mysteries of the universe. Project Phoenix evolved into something greater, a platform for sharing knowledge and experiences across vast distances. It allowed individuals to temporarily connect and see through each other's eyes, fostering empathy and understanding on an unprecedented scale. As the first joint human-Zarkonian exploration vessels prepared to venture into uncharted space, Alina stood on the observation deck of the Jupiter station. Besides her, Admiral Exarchon, now Ambassador Exarchon, gazed out at the stars. "You know," Alina mused, "when you first arrived, you gave us a warning. You thought it would be our final one." Exarchon nodded, a hint of a smile on his alien features, and instead, it was the beginning of something none of us could have imagined. As they watched, a fleet of ships bearing the insignia of the new alliance moved into view, preparing for their maiden voyage. Each vessel was a testament to the combined ingenuity of both species, sleek Zarkonian design infused with human creativity and adaptability. "So," Alina asked, her eyes twinkling with the reflected starlight, "where do we go from here?" Exarchon gestured at the vast expanse before them. "Wherever we choose, Dr. Rodriguez. The galaxy awaits, and this time, we face it together." As the fleet engaged their drives, disappearing into the cosmic tapestry in a flash of light, Alina felt a swell of emotion through the Phoenix network. Hope, excitement, and a touch of trepidation flowed from billions of minds, human and Zarkonian alike. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The warning that was meant to herald their end had instead become the catalyst for a new beginning. As the Alliance took its first steps into the unknown, the message they carried to the stars was clear. Underestimate us at your peril, for when pushed to the brink, humanity doesn't just survive. It evolves, adapts, and reaches heights beyond imagination. And now, with new allies by their side, there was no limit to what they could achieve. The reckoning had come, not as an end, but as a cosmic awakening. And the universe would never be the same again.